What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over some of the news you might have missed over this past weekend, as well as parts of today. I'm not going to talk necessarily about the Disney Marvel Showcase or the Ubisoft Forward event, as you know, I covered that on the main channel, all that good stuff. But I do want to start this video talking about Assassin's Creed Mirage and what came after the Ubisoft Forward. So pretty much a lot of those details, the gameplay details that had leaked about the game a couple of weeks ago, they pretty much turned out to be true in terms of dropping a lot of the RPG elements of this game, but also the length. There's been rumors that this game was going to be somewhere in between 15 to 20 hours, and somebody very high up in Ubisoft, I believe, even did an interview for IGN and dropped pretty much the same thing. I think the question was kind of asked where, you know, because the game's $50, so it is cheaper than a normal full price game, does that mean the length is shorter? And I think they suggested IGN, they suggested 15 to 20 hours, and the person they were interviewing kind of said, like, yeah, that's actually why the game is smaller than a normal Assassin's Creed game. With that being said, there will be long Assassin's Creed games. They will start to do that again, or that will kind of flow in. But in that discussion, they also talked about the diversity of these Assassin's Creed games. So although Mirage will probably be a 15 to 20 hour game, the Japan one, that one may be back because they talk about the RPG elements returning for that game. That may be back in like the 100+ hour, like the Odyssey Valhalla kind of thing. But they're not all going to be like even either of those. There's going to be games in the Assassin's Creed franchise going forward that's all sorts of, different lengths of time. So pretty interesting there. And then, of course, the adults only rating on Assassin's Creed Mirage. I didn't want to make a video for it on its own because I kind of sense the same thing as others were saying, where games don't get that. Games that get like adult only ratings, you can't even, I believe they're very hard to even sell in the first place. So that would basically be like a kiss of death for your game. And the reason why it was that is because it said there's real gambling in the game. So like actual gambling, which would be almost like those casino kind of mini games that's been in some games before. So that was a mistake. Ubisoft issued a statement saying we don't have the rating. We're not going to say the rating right now, but it's not that. It's not that, and there is no gambling or loot boxes. They did say that as well. There's no loot boxes and there's no gambling in Assassin's Creed Mirage. So I had figured that it was fake in the first place, that it just wasn't accurate, and it turns out, that's actually true, because it just can't. That would be such a bad look. And also, again, games that have that rating, very difficult to sell in the first place. There is no way Ubisoft would do that. Next up, we have The Witcher, and this came from, I believe, their earnings report, where it was said multiple times that this game was going to be the start. The next Witcher game is going to be the start of a trilogy. They didn't flat out say it, but they did talk about how, like, the last Witcher, era or saga was 3 games. This is much the same. This is game 1. So, and we're thinking about more than one game. Like, all of that kind of wordage was used in this earnings call. So, yeah, there's going to be another trilogy. Not all that surprising, and God, will it take forever for, I'm not even going to think about that, because by the time you would get, Witcher 4, 5, 6, let's say, that is easily, 10, 11, 12 years down the line. We don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be in that amount of time. I don't know where anybody's going to be in that amount of time. So I'm not going to worry about it too much, but they are, thinking about the future. This isn't going to be a one-off game. This is going to be part of a trilogy. We also have the Nintendo Direct confirmation. So tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's such a bad time for me personally, but who cares? Who cares about my situation? But there is going to be a Nintendo Direct, 40 minutes long, around 40 minutes, and focusing mostly on games coming out this winter. So I do think we'll see Bayonetta 3 quite heavily. I think we'd see Pokemon quite heavily, but mostly does not mean all, right? I think that's a little bit of wiggle room if they did want to do something for maybe Breath of the Wild. This is, in my opinion, not really the Nintendo Direct I think people necessarily wanted, right? Because a lot of the games that people, when you speculate with Nintendo, or again, even you bring up Breath of the Wild 2, you think of the future, and it's like, well, this isn't necessarily things in the future. These are things coming out in the next 3 months. I kind of think about it like, what would happen if Sony did that, right? We've all been waiting for a PlayStation showcase, and they say, all right, well, we're primarily going to be focused here on like Forspoken. Like, that's kind of our big thing over the next couple months, so we're going to worry about that. And it's like, well, that's that's part of what we want to see, but we want to see a whole lot more as well. So I'm sure it'll be good, though. Nintendo Directs, these kind of Nintendo Directs generally are pretty darn good, but I will cover it right after. And finally, we have the Metal Hellsinger reviews. Now, I want to just kind of throw this out here for a couple of reasons. Number one, I did one. They actually gave me a code for the game, so I did review Metal Hellsinger. I overall really did like it. I think the biggest issue with it was the price. On Metacritic, it's got a 79 rating based off of 33 critics, so that is pretty good. I don't give scores. I don't give any scores. I just say whether I like it or not and kind of describe it. But an 8, that's pretty darn good. Again, for me, it's a super, super short game, but it is definitely fun, and it's a game that gets more fun, I think, as the game goes, if you're into this stuff, even if you're not super into heavy metal, which I'm not. I actually don't look at it as like a top 3, genres of music at all, but an 8 definitely is overall solid, and it's coming on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, it's very short, and it's $40, so you could say, well, $40 for such a short amount of time may not be worth it. Well, if you have Game Pass, then the money aspect of it goes away, right? So definitely worth it for sure if you have Game Pass. So let me know what you guys think about these stories in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up, and I hope to see you all on tomorrow's video.